Thank you for your time this morning. My name is Joe Roushar, and I'm the founder of empathi.ai. That's empathy spelled with an I instead of an Y. And it's really a pleasure to be able to tell you a little bit about my business. And it was really a pleasure to hear about Derek's business. What a cool thing to be able to found a company and build it on the premise of not only serving people, but serving God. I think that's just really my origin story is that I'm originally from Minnesota. I joined the military and became an intelligence officer. Before joining the military, I already spoke some languages, including European languages and Japanese. And so they made me into an intelligence officer and sent me off to Japan. While I was there, I was working with people in government and industry and academia and gathering information that would be helpful to the U.S., specifically to track high technology that was leaving Japan and going to target countries such as China, North Korea, and the Soviet Union. That was in the 1980s when there was a Soviet Union.
Sounds like a stressful job. I'm stressed.
Well, it was fascinating, and it was really wonderful to develop relationships with these people and to be able to speak with them in their language and to learn about them and to, in the process, help the United States accomplish some of its important goals. And the primary goal that I was focused on was avoiding technological surprise. America doesn't want to be militarily surprised by a certain technology, by any technology, okay? And so I was bringing back stacks of documents every day. I was working with about 8 other guys. And we were bringing back stacks of documents this high every day, and we were only able to translate a tiny fraction of them. And so from that very beginning time, I made it my goal to be able to automate that translation so that we could translate much more of them, protect the United States better. But translation isn't just for military or just for the government. Translation can be valuable to anybody, including sacred text. And so my goal was to be able to develop a translation system that is completely unlike Google Translate. And just to give you a sense, Google Translate takes patterns and calculates the probability of this pattern in the source language, such as English, being equivalent to this pattern in the target language, such as German. Okay? And they use that algorithm as a basis for translating. And as you know, if you've worked with Google Translate much, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In order to really bring the value that was needed for my mission, we had to make it work all the time, and with a much higher level of accuracy. Right now, machine translation capabilities are limited to maybe 60%, maybe 70% in narrowly defined domains. And in order to really bring the value, we need to get that up above 90%. And I determined that the way to do that is for the computer to know as much about everything as you and I do. Now that seems like a tall order, and it is, but the first thing that we did was develop a model whereby you could encapsulate knowledge very efficiently and then be able to process that knowledge very efficiently. We've achieved it. We have patents, and we built a company. Unfortunately, the company failed in COVID, but we ended up moving here. I live in Granby, close to Neosho. Getting an office in Joplin. We're located at the Joe Newman Innovation Center. And we're a brand new restart. We created the company late last year, and we got our Missouri tax ID in June, and we started operations on July 1st. And now, right now we're raising money. We're working with local groups in Missouri. Codify, Missouri Technology Corporation, Idea Fund, MSU, Small Business Development Center, Joplin Chamber of Commerce. We're working with a lot of folks to make sure that we can build the company successfully and achieve all our goals. In the prior entity that failed, we were able to make big sales, even though we hadn't completed the very advanced technology. What we did was we first built the technology that makes it possible to implement AI very rapidly in a company. And so we had workflow and inference engines and data management, data cleansing, and data anomaly detection, and other things that are very valuable to companies. But the biggest thing is our adapter factory that lets us connect to any data source that they have, and then send our bots out, learn it, catalog the information in it, and then be able to immediately answer questions against it. And so that's why we're able to focus on mid-market companies, be able to very rapidly implement our AI solution in the company, and within 4 days, start turning over results. That's what it took with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. And implementing with them, we were able to take their claims and benefits help desk people and be able to reduce their turnover dramatically, reduce their error rate from 11 per thousand to 1 per thousand. Errors at an insurance company cost a lot. Reduce their training time for their agents from 8 weeks to 30 minutes, at the same time as reducing this error rate. And this is even before we had our very advanced technology complete. So, we're starting up again. We're really happy to be here in Southern Missouri. God brought us here. And we are really excited about releasing this technology now, because one thing that has happened that has kind of been a little bit of a surprise to a lot of folks, but not a surprise to us, is that last week, in the beginning of the week, Google announced that they're not going to be able to meet their climate change goals for 2030 because of AI. It takes what's called a lot of graphical processing units. Let me be really clear. To train a large language model, it takes 21 days with 2,048 graphical processing units, which are very costly. You can't get them in almost any data center. You have to go to a very specialized data center, and it costs literally millions to train a GPT one time. That's why you've got GPT-3, GPT 3.5, GPT-4, GPT. I mean, you can't do it that frequently because it is so costly. With us, to get the same amount of training, scanning the entire World Wide Web and scanning internal documents, it goes very quickly. For the entire web, 7 days on 8 CPUs, no GPUs, in AWS. And so the actual cost is over 700 times cheaper in terms of dollar cost and environmental cost. 700 times less power consumption. And if we are able to spread rapidly, we might be able to help Google turn around and be able to actually achieve their climate goals. Right now we're in the fundraising process, and what we would like, our ask of you, is that if you know any companies that would like to partner with us, or companies that could benefit from our technology, or individuals who would like to see significant multiples in their investments, let me know. Thank you.
All right, so who has questions?
Because now's the time to ask, because this guy can answer anything. I don't even know what you're talking about, and I'm
I know.
excited for you.
I wish my eyes hadn't glazed over, because you're like so over my head.
Like, yeah.
But thank
But
you.
there are actually organizations in this area that are doing very similar things. SoloLink, Andy Griffith, is doing great things for small businesses by setting them up with a web capability. ChatSpark, they have amazing capabilities. And so this isn't really that new for this area. I'm not the first AI guy in town.
I'm just not a technological person, I guess. Boy, I wish I was.
So what kind of companies are you,
Our
like, what are your
initial-
targets?
Our initial focus is financial services company. We call it BFSI, banking, financial services, and insurance.
Okay.
And like I said, we've deployed at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, health insurance industry. We've deployed at other financial services companies with great success. We save money and help improve the bottom line and the top.
So are you talking like you need bank presidents? You need, I mean, who is your
You
target
know,
market?
the bank president, yes, but the COO even more so,
Okay.
because it's operations that need to be made more efficient.
Okay.
But exactly, we're planning to speak with the folks at Jack Henry,
Okay.
and I mean, I have worked in the Fortune 5. I was a lead architect at United Health Group for several years, and so I know what.
Oh, I absolutely believe you are the smartest person that's walked into any room you've ever been in. Like, you have me sold.
But I've also worked for startups, and so we could target any of those. But what we want to do is we want to offer a solution that's much more affordable in every way, and the way we prove that is by going into these mid-market companies and deploying to them in ways that they can afford it and they can see instant business value, because that's where the real opportunity is. In order for this thing to be able to translate 600 languages, and by the way, that's our goal, and by the way, only 200 of those are even digitized, and only 300 of those are even written. Okay? For us to be able to do 600 languages, we have to accumulate a lot of knowledge, and this is our springboard.
So because we talked briefly about ChatSpark and what we do, so is your main goal a translation AI, or is it a whole bot like that interfaces like as customer service, or is it both?
Our initial target market is banking, financial services, and our second one is manufacturing companies in the mid-market space. And the three things that we're bringing to them is search, analytics, including qualitative analytics. One of our patents is for causal reasoning. By the way, there's a verb in every sentence.
Nobody knows.
Causal reasoning means finding the proximal causes and root causes of whatever just happened. Okay? And because of the fact that every sentence has a verb, causal reasoning is necessary for deep understanding. And so qualitative as well as quantitative analytics and trouble ticket resolution. So those three things: search, analytics, and ticket resolution.
So Joe, if you haven't connected with Ben McNeely in Joplin,
Yeah.
he's owner of Pennington Station, but then he also has a software development company. But he is really pushing the development of Joplin as a tech center of the region, of the country.
Ben McNeely.
Ben McNeely. So it's right there around the corner from the chamber.
Yeah.
Is Pennington Station. It's on Virginia.
Beautiful.
You need to connect with him.
I'll write his cell
And
phone
then
number down
the
for
other
you right
one
now.
is
May I have that as well?
Midwest Interactive.
Uh-huh.
They're a software development. They're in big time like Google and all these people, but they're right there at 7th and Main, next to the bank, a black building. It's called Midwest Interactive.
Beautiful.
And you need to, I think his name is Matthew, but I can't remember his last name. But anyway, those are two you really need to connect with in Joplin.
As a Christian, do you see any disadvantages of the AI system? Do you see any disadvantages
Well,
as a Christian?
you know that ChatGPT and other large language model-based AIs can hallucinate.
Right.
Okay, so that's one problem. And as a Christian, getting false information just really bugs me. Okay. Second of all, bias is everywhere, including fake information. And a lot of the things that are being treated as fake news are not. And so what we need is an AI that can identify bias and can differentiate between fact and belief. And there's nothing wrong with belief. And just because it's a fact that we can't prove that there's a God doesn't mean that there's no God. And so the real definition of intelligence is a lot bigger than what you get in a large language model. And so as we develop advanced artificial intelligence solutions, they have to be able to transcend the whole breadth of the human experience, which includes belief and fact, and be able to differentiate between them and be able to talk to people who have questions about those things. That's hard, because a lot of issues are hot button issues. I mean, let me just say it. Transgender issues, political issues, international issues. People have a lot of different opinions about those things, and that's okay. What the AI has to be able to do is differentiate fact from opinion and be able to properly represent that when talking to people.
So you have the absence of empathy, skill loss in humans, job loss, and displacement.
Yeah, I'm not worried about job loss. Remember when Henry David Thoreau was at Walden Pond?
Yeah.
That was in the beginning of the age of mechanization, and everybody was up in arms, you know, we're all going to lose our jobs. We didn't. And AI is going to automate brain tasks, including translation. It's not going to supplant people. It's going to increase productivity. Now, some people are going to have to reposition themselves. They're going to have to reinvent themselves.
Is it something, is it godly? That's what I'm asking. Is it a godly process? Be honest with you. Is it something God would respect?
Is it godly or is it ungodly, is your question, right?
Yeah, I mean, is it something that
Okay,
breaks the line?
so let's talk about tasks.
Yeah.
Is an international harvester tractor godly or ungodly? Because it reduced the amount of labor.
It's material. It's a material thing.
It's material.
Tractor is material.
Yeah.
It's strictly material.
So it can't be godly or ungodly.
It's not godly. The tractor is not godly, that's for sure.
So is it ungodly?
It has nothing to do with God.
It has nothing to do with God. And AI, as long as it remains, I'm going to use a religious term, agnostic of religion, needs not be godly or ungodly, it can be totally separated. Now, will people use the internet for ungodly purposes?
Yes.
The second most content on the internet today is family history. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
The most is pornography. That's ugly and ungodly. Any technology that comes out there can be used for good, and many can be used for for bad. I don't think international harvester tractors are necessarily in that category. But that's a good question.
Yes, very good.
Well, I could ask a lot more questions about that. I just wanna know if you think that it's something that God would approve of.
Yes, as long as it's used like the tractor to
Artificial
automate
intelligence.
tasks, yes. Because AI isn't really artificial intelligence, it's
Something-
advanced computing.
It's something thinking for the human being.
It's not thinking,
It's processing information.
it's processing information.
Right?
It's not, it will never have the ability to judge or make judgments.
Very good. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.